Good. All right. Good evening and welcome to the Litchfield Recreation Commission meeting for tonight, October 8th. We will start with the call to order. We have Judy Brennan.
Present.
Secretary. Member Mike Bosky.
Here.
The Selectmen's Rep, Steve Gannon.
Here.
Member Andy Ruggles.
Here.
I'm Chris Burns, the chair, and I'm here. Now we will rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we will open up the floor to public input. Got a couple of folks here.
Hello?
All right, come on up to the table, please state your name and address and what you'd like to talk about.
Social Security number 2. Daniel DeWitt, 2 Glenwood Drive, here in Litchfield, not any other town. I am here on behalf of the school FIC committee asking, we made up a bunch of yard signs for trying to get community input for our survey that we have out. Contains the website, the QR codes, got a graphic on it, and we're looking to be able to put these signs on the rec commission fields, areas, and properties. We originally reached out to the town admin, and the town admin asked us to contact you guys and go from there.
All right, I guess the the questions I would have is basically what type of signs are we talking about? Are they like the yard signs, like the
I've got
for sale? Or, okay.
Sorry, I should have.
No, we're not selling our fields.
No.
It's gonna be this. Comes with stands. It's the same image, front and back.
Okay.
And so we're just looking to do it on the side, on the driveway coming in. I don't know if they want to put them right next to the fields, but the first step was let's just ask permission first, and then go from there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see a problem with it. You know, I'd probably want to keep them off of the areas where they mow because they don't want them pulling them up and mowing. And,
Right.
You know,
Yep.
Move them every time they have to mow.
Okay.
But I think other than that, I don't see a
How
problem.
long do you think they'll be out there for?
So we need a result back to the school board by mid-November, so just after then. Much beyond then, we're getting into the winter and they're gonna get destroyed by plowing and stuff.
5 or 6 weeks, maybe?
Yeah, we're looking at, mid-November, end of November. We're gonna try to convince to keep the survey going even after we get them what they're looking for, just to keep trying to get more and more input. So that's the goal.
Anybody else have any questions?
How many signs are you planning on putting out?
So we have a list, so
Just a
Not
rough,
prepared.
rough idea, like 10, 20, 600?
So at the rec fields, it's probably on the order of 10,
Okay.
right? If we want to do it at any of the major fields, so Sawmill, Roy Memorial Park, Dara Pond, that areas. And if there's better locations, like there's the predefined fields where there's usually a lot of activity, like next to the tennis courts and the pickleball courts, maybe a second one there. So we're in the 10, 15-ish range.
Okay, yeah, because I think we have, 7 parks that we're responsible for?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I will say baseball only has 1 game left.
Yep.
So I don't know that it'd be worth it.
Okay.
I would
Just wanted
definitely
to give you a
say
heads up.
at the tennis courts, at the pickleball courts, because those are both used pretty heavily.
Yes. Yep.
In addition to,
And Roy Roy has traffic there all the time.
Right.
For Dara, the basketball courts, Talent, the playground,
playground.
softball.
Yeah, and so we've already got them at the school facility, so we're not really necessarily worried about there. We got permission to do that from all the principals, so we're good there. But
Have you thought about maybe just drilling some little holes in there and zip tying to the fence or something, just so they don't get taken, or?
so we absolutely could. I don't see any issues as to why we couldn't do that. I mean, I've got a big giant thing of McMaster car zip ties, so
I would do it at the major entrances to the field.
Yeah.
And then
Dara has a kiosk too, as you walk in, right there to the right, that's covered, so you could tack that right up on the board.
Okay.
Protect it a little bit,
yeah.
from the weather. And Parker Park is also our property.
Oh,
There's a
okay,
kiosk there too, and I believe it has plastic, you can slide it under at
Okay.
the kiosk.
because we also have like an 8.5 by 11
Oh, yeah, the
flyer
river
for
access,
bulletin boards that we're putting out. So we've got it at Romano's, we've got it at Hidden Creek, where Westerns and stuff like that is, we're still actively trying to put up these flyers as
So
well.
the John Bryant River access and Parker Park would be included with our parks. also.
Perfect. Yeah, that would be awesome. All right,
Anything
any
else?
other questions? No?
I think we're good. Thanks for coming in. Yeah, I was just curious
Do
what
we have
type
to
of signs
vote
we were
on
talking
that,
about.
or no?
I don't think so.
No.
No,
Okay,
just make a
verbal
statement that you
approval.
authorize,
Yeah.
what was it?
It's the FIC, so the Facility Improvement Committee we're a citizen committee group of the school board as an advisory board to them going forward for the school systems.
Yeah, go right
Awesome.
ahead. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Good evening.
Hello.
Justin Brunel, 21 Bear Run. I'm here to see about resurrecting flag football in Litchfield and how I would go about doing that. Like I said earlier, I know there was a league 2016 to 2021.
Do you know who ran it?
Brian Millett is the name on Facebook, but I'm not sure.
Have you talked to him at all?
I have not, no.
To see if he has any sort of, because, so right now, there's basically nothing, none of the leagues are under rec. Baseball is its own entity, softball is its own entity.
Okay.
Basketball,
Yep.
et cetera, et cetera. I'm not saying it couldn't be, or it, I just, that's how it is right now. Soccer, it's just.
Yeah.
Soccer, lacrosse, they're all, I mean, it used to be, like, basketball and lacrosse were under rec at one point. And then we found out we didn't find out, it was kind of ruled that once you put under there, now all money is, it used to be like you kind of have in the revolving, but now it's more of you'd have to put your money in and you don't really have a choice. Like, there's no like, we're gonna
They
just
operate as
sequester
a
this.
501c
Yeah,
nonprofit
exactly.
with a president, vice president, secretary, and all that, and they could control their money and decide what to do with it without.
Right.
Where if it's a town-sponsored, like rec basketball, rec is.
Yeah, everything's,
Anything that
all
they
the rec
generate.
leagues are on their own now, so, yeah.
Oh, rec is.
Yeah.
If it's a recreation commission sponsored organization or league,
Yeah.
any money generated or collected has to come through the town.
Okay.
And then it goes into the recreation fund.
Okay.
So the organization doesn't get to decide, like, if we want to buy shirts, you have to come
Right.
see us and all that kind of.
Okay. So all run as nonprofits?
They do.
Okay, all right. How would field usage work, or how would that?
So just like any other league, you'd have to submit the facility request
Okay.
ahead of time, and, we'll have to make sure that there's schedule available for it, and
Okay,
Yeah. And then as the organization, all the rest of them are required as well to get certificate of insurance.
Yep.
Which is relatively cheap. Every year, submit it to us along with the facility and field request, and then we work with you to figure out time and, space availabilities.
okay. Facility, go ahead.
I was gonna say previously, I think that league ran at Sawmill, correct?
It did, yeah.
Is that where you think
That's,
you'd have
yeah,
it again?
yeah. So from a conflict standpoint or facility standpoint, is there better times a year to be doing this for Sawmill? Is there better days of the week?
Like before, it used to start up right after lacrosse season, because I think there was a big crossover. So it was like, the last week of soccer, but lacrosse was done, so, flag used to like start going on the lacrosse field and using it basically for a couple months over the summer. The spring gets busy there. That's, between lacrosse and soccer at that field, it becomes really busy. The fall, there's only soccer, so there's more, you could definitely do it in the fall too. And then I know the flag football's usually big over at Sportsplex. Usually that's where teams end up going and
Right.
everything. But yeah, outdoors, you mean, before it was end of spring into the summer, and then, I mean, as I said, like the fall, there's plenty, this time, the spring becomes a little hectic, but, I mean, if you could squeeze you in, I mean, it has to be away, but.
Is Sundays busy?
Sundays now has the Healthy Kids,
Series.
running series down there, so
I mean,
they basically take up the entire field from 4 to,
yeah.
6.
Is it that long? 2 hours?
In the afternoon?
yeah. on
So I
Sundays.
was mentioning earlier, so I'm a part of Queen City over Manchester, so I've been coaching there for 3 years, and it's generally Sunday mornings, fall and spring, 8-week periods. We're done and wrapped up. We start at 9:30, we're done and wrapped up by 1 on Sundays. A perfect world, I'd mirror that or mimic that in some form or
Are you
fashion.
you're talking youth?
It's youth, yes. So it's, target is elementary to middle school, or late elementary, middle school.
Because you think you'd get into a point where it'd be some crossover where kids are playing soccer, they also want to play flag football. But they, because of game schedules, they probably won't sign up.
The spring lacrosse play Sunday mornings, soccer can play Sunday at any point.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's where like a Sunday morning would be tough, I think, or tougher scheduling wise. At least at Sawmill in the spring.
And you
In
need
the fall, in the fall, there's field space, so, I mean.
What about
it's-
at Roy on Sundays?
Roy is fairly open on Sundays. I think softball is coming, softball's almost done. They only have a couple more games left. The Plex uses a couple of the softball fields for practice as a team there in the morning. I think is it 10 a.m., I think, and then another one at 5:30.
Does that feel big enough? for flag
I'd have to
football?
look at it. So it's,
Yeah, if you go in.
so it's two
It's a
soccer
full soccer
fields.
field.
Yeah, I was
That's
gonna say,
true.
I think it's two soccer fields at Queens, Livingston. So we use Livingston Park over in Manchester, so I think that's two soccer fields combined.
Yeah, I mean, it should be. Would you line the field?
No, so we're just
Cones?
using cones, yeah, right now. So there's some lines for soccer that are there pre-existing,
There are.
but,
Yeah, Roy, there are too.
okay. If I were to look, I'm assuming it's online now, but if I were to look at this past spring, fairly regular in terms of activity, Sunday, like for the leagues, the major
Yeah.
leagues, I would
Yeah,
say.
it's in the
So if I were to
springs,
look
yeah,
at-
it's in the springs, like, I don't know what softball is in the spring.
Yeah, so softball usually is games, I think in the springtime on Saturdays, which would leave Sundays open. I know in the fall, soccer is Saturdays usually, right?
Soccer is usually Saturdays.
Yeah, so softball usually tries to go to
with
Sundays.
some of,
so there's no
with some
conflict.
with some of, crossover at times, but, lacrosse is the one in the spring where it's there Sunday mornings
Yep.
all the time.
Do we have the ability to look back on a calendar? that far?
I'm in it right now, yeah, I think
So you
so.
can go back,
So say, I do know a
Yeah,
guy
I
who
can go
can hold
back.
back.
I'm in
for
May
kids.
right now.
talk to your dad.
Yeah, I'll try.
He'll get you access.
Yeah, I'm in May right now, so.
But fairly regular in terms of if I looked back, just to see kind of, I know it's not.
I mean, I'll be honest, I don't know how far back does this skate calendar really go? Like, in
And
terms of us
here's-
really keeping track of it?
And like soccer, the calendar's not really going to be accurate because soccer reserves pretty much from 8 a.m. till
Yeah.
4 p.m. say, but they may only have games at like noon and 1 or whatever. You don't know.
You don't
And that's
know.
the thing, you don't know when
There are
this-
days that can be 2 games, there are days that can be 6. It's.
Or none.
Or none,
You
yeah,
know,
right,
like-
exactly. It's all over the place, that's. part
And
of
that's just
being
because
a
your
league.
scheduling comes from the state,
Right.
right? So that's why it's so hard to nail down times.
Yeah, just like, it's, again, just like it's, a lot of these leagues are, like that, right? Like, if you're playing in that travel league, that state league, you don't have, it's like, hey, you could have a game, you get, like, your game's on Saturday, it could be a 1, it could be a 4, it could be a 10, or it could not even be Saturday, that week, it could be Sunday, it could be both days. You're kind of at their mercy at times. It's all about, like, again, though, it's all about maximum field space, right? In the fall, there's always room. There's always a piece of grass there that's big enough to, I mean, realistically, right now, like, there's a soccer field lined, there's a small soccer field, there's two small soccer field lined. They only play games on one of those soccer fields. So basically, a large soccer field is open. A large soccer field's bigger than a normal football field. So, I mean, that's usually open in the fall. In the spring, that's when there's problems. You could have simultaneous games or not because of lacrosse going at the same time. But, that's the only thing I'm thinking. So, but lacrosse is always Sunday mornings.
And are you gonna, what do you think the ratio is? You're gonna try to have mostly Litchfield youth, or are you gonna?
So I think that would be the goal to start, but I do think we'd probably see some, like I said, in Manchester now, or even Sportsplex, you got a lot of teams dropping in, so
Yeah.
I think you probably get some Hudson kids. I mean, I want to tailor it to youth and just kids that want to try to join versus sometimes we went to a tournament in, over the summer, and some of these teams been playing a long time, and, really just want to tailor it to the youth and try to get them to get exercise about it. And I mean, you're seeing it right now, a lot of high school teams or a lot of high schools are adopting flag football for girls across the country, so.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're able to get it off the ground, I mean, it's probably just the type of thing where you should just submit the facility request and we'll fit it in where we can. I mean, we can work.
Yeah,
with
it may not be a consistent time every
Yeah.
week, but, that's usually what the leagues do. They all work together and
They
try to
do,
figure
yeah.
out when.
Okay.
They can be flexible.
All right, well, I'll try reaching out to the guy Brian that at least was signing on these Facebook pages and see if.
Yeah, he might be a good place to start.
Yep. Okay.
I don't know if he had a 501c3 or anything like that.
Probably not
I
back
don't
then.
remember.
I don't remember.
Flag back then wasn't really, it's a good way to put it. It was more, they used it more for just just practicing in those times. They
Right.
weren't games,
Right.
their game seasons were basically scheduled around what the sportsplex had. So they went to the sportsplex, they played their games pretty much, I don't know when they start up, they gotta be probably
Start up in October.
November, and they go through March, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And usually it was to keep them active, because, Brian, his kids also played lacrosse, his kids played soccer for a couple of years, and it'd be like, okay, so they play flag, then they play a spring sport, then they'd start flag again, just that rotation, which, a lot of kids do in town, right? You just kind of rotating through sports. So, that's how it was before, so it wasn't really I think it was an organization, but it wasn't one geared towards developing a group, right? It was more like these individual
Yeah,
teams
keeping
all
them-
coming together to
keeping them
kind of be
playing.
like, yeah.
Right.
Keeping them busy.
Was it run through rec or was it run through the schools?
Flag?
Yeah.
It was independent,
It was independent?
yeah.
Okay.
I thought LMS at one point.
I don't remember
did
ever being.
After-school flag football when my son was there, because I know he played, but I think it was more of an extracurricular activity thing.
It's called gym class.
Well, it was after school. But
I mean, if there's any questions that,
Yeah.
just shoot me an email, I can try to help you out.
Okay. Yeah, at least you got me a good start, so we'll go from there.
Yeah.
Good luck with it.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
So I do have to apologize. It looks like I skipped the approval of minutes. I just got excited seeing some people here in the.
Were there minutes?
See you guys.
Or
Yeah, thanks for
actually,
coming
there were
in.
Minutes from
We had a meeting
before.
from last, we did have a meeting the last meeting was the 24th, right?
the
So we have
meeting
to
before
approve
was
those
the
minutes.
non-meeting minutes.
24th, that's right, yeah.
So, did anybody have a chance to review the minutes from the 24th?
Yep.
Yep.
All right, can I get a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
From September 24th.
Any edits or concerns? All right, hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Those minutes will pass 401. All right, thank you about that. Moving on, facility and field requests. I don't see any on the list. Do we have any come in? Nope. All right, then old business. We have the ropes course update.
So, Proscapes and Tom Andrews will be back into first to second week of November. We'll have dates as he gets closer. He's coming from Indiana and he's at other trainings and other facilities. Our part is all done as far as the groundswork, that all passed inspection. At that same time, they're gonna inspect the course where the tree fell on it, but that's all Campbell High School's piece. And Harrison will get further training there at the time he's there, with, I believe it's like 3 or 4 other high school phys ed teachers from Salem and like Londonderry that are getting trained too. So some of the training would happen at our course, and some will happen in Salem, with the majority of it, I think, being in Salem. And then that same week, Tom will meet with me and Steve Weber as the rec reps and over at the high school. And that's when we'll be able to start talking about how we should go about the field or facility requests. And it'll probably go to the high school first, because they own the course, we own the property, and copies of the certification and the COIs and everything that will be involved in that. I see it as a separate form from our general one, because you will have to be certified in order to use it. So we don't have any specific dates, but I'll let you know once the dates are
The
set.
school will be doing all the scheduling, all that, so really,
Yep.
for the
It's
record.
just
we'll
letting
be
us know that they're on our property.
Informing us that
Yep.
they'll be in use, which would be great.
So will they be filling out a facility request form for that when they're gonna use it, or is it, how does that?
That, we don't know. I don't know if it's gonna be a 2-part form.
I wouldn't think so. I'd say just shoot us an email. and let us
Yeah,
know.
like, I
courtesy
think it's
email.
gonna, the schools, because I think the school really, it's their course is gonna be, should be requiring the instructor certificate and the COI, and then just letting us know. So if we have something going on, or, we know someone's gonna be on the property. I don't know how formal, I mean, we can talk about that later too, how formal you want it, but I think
I
we're
don't
fine as long as we
I
know.
don't think we need to add another
No.
item to
No.
track.
No.
And if this, it's being handled by the school, I think,
Right.
with them just letting us know, we'll be here this date,
Yep.
so that we know who's out there and what they're doing. I think would be sufficient.
So, and then that, so we're pretty close to officially opening that and getting it back
Perfect.
running.
Good news.
And Jason is actually gonna fly a drone over in a few weeks when there's fewer leaves. Because when I asked for a copy of the course, because there were certain things that need to be cut down or mowed down, and they're like, oh, under this or that, and they had all these names, and I'm like, I need a map to show the highway department, and it came like, it was hand-drawn with pen on, that gray math paper you used to use in school to show your work. So I was like, oh, I need something better. So I'm hoping we can get a map of that, so when there does need to be some groundwork done, it's gonna be very easy to figure out, and we're not walking in there looking up and looking down. and
Who's
saying,
flying, your Jason's gonna
Yeah.
fly, he'll crash it before the end.
"Oh, that's
Gotta get
okay.
an experienced
As long as
drone
I get
pilot. You'll get
but
50
I need
feet.
something better than that piece of paper, 'cause it didn't help much. So anyway, so that's it with that.
Thank you. So next we'll talk about the covering for the heating equipment at Town Hall. So I did have a chance to go by, took some measurements, took some pictures of it. It is actually bigger than I thought it would be. I guess for starters, the caged in area over there really needs some maintenance and some upkeep in there. There's trees growing and pretty good sized bushes that are in there that really need to be cleaned out. So I think we need to organize that sometime this fall. That would only benefit the,
I think, yeah, that needs to be a priority, I think.
yeah, that would only benefit the equipment in there. The actual size of the unit itself, so it sits off of the building a little bit because of the ductwork that goes up the wall. It sits on a concrete pad right now that's 11 feet long by 6 feet. The good news there is I think we can probably anchor some sort of a structure to the pad, because it sits out, the unit itself is smaller than the pad. So that might be a good option for that. The unit itself is about 10 feet long by 6 feet. I'm sorry, it's, 10 feet long, about 6 feet tall. So I think we have some options, maybe reaching out to people that might be able to donate some material, or
Help us out with that.
was it the Army Corps of Engineers built the deck and the stairwell back there? Might be worth talking to them and seeing if they can put something together for that.
So the unit from the building out is,
The unit itself is 10 feet by,
well, we're gonna wanna cover the whole thing though, right?
well,
Even
the ductwork goes up the wall,
Yeah.
so
it's-
you either have to wrap it and
Yeah.
close it, or just go up to the ductwork itself.
Yeah, okay. But you're not gonna be moving, like, starting I don't know where the pad begins, like, is it 4 feet from the ductwork? So we'll be covering as much as possible.
The pad does not go underneath the ductwork, so the ductwork actually is about another 10 feet itself,
Oh, really?
so it's about well, maybe not that much, maybe like 6 or 8 feet. From the building to the edge of the heating unit, which includes the intake,
Yeah,
is 20 feet.
okay.
So, so if we just cover the unit itself, it's
Ten by
about 10
six.
feet, yeah.
60 square feet.
Um,
I didn't realize it stuck off the building that far.
Yeah, the duct's fairly substantial.
So the first thing we have to do is kind of clear out that area.
Mhm.
Yep.
Do you have an idea when you want to get that done?
Do you have the code to the gate?
There's no lock on it.
There's no, okay, there was at one point.
There's a empty carton of cigarettes holding it closed.
We'll clean it out and put a lock back on there.
Yeah, so, yeah, I mean, it probably wouldn't take too long to clean it out with some power tools.
Right.
So, I mean, if we can spare an hour or two, I think we can make a good dent in it. So, a weeknight or a weekend sometime.
Okay.
I'll be available not this weekend or the weekend after, but the weekend after that, which puts us in what, like December already or something.
All right.
First, November 2nd.
That's 1, 2, 3, 4 weekends out.
Well,
Try to
maybe
get it done before then,
the 26th.
something.
I am away that week.
I'm away next weekend, but maybe the weekend after, the 26th. Because it's probably, I did see a picture where it's like a growth growing up between the fence, right? So we just gotta cut everything with saws.
Yeah,
Clean it
yeah.
out.
There's a few of them. One of them's actually grown up taller than the unit itself, so it's pretty good size. I can't do the 26th either, but we can find some time.
Yeah, I'll plan on going down on the 26th. Because then I also want to finish cleaning up around the tennis courts, pushing all that debris back.
I gotta find time to take those nets down too.
And I can get in there before that, if anybody else can, we could start cleaning it up, and I don't know, maybe by the 26th, it'll be time to be taking measurements and figuring out what we want to do.
Weekends are gonna be tough for me until
Okay.
middle of November.
So what about, is
But I can
there a
do-
weeknight that works?
I mean, I'm usually down there on Thursdays.
You want to just put something out,
I can swing by on
reach out
Thursdays.
to us, and,
I won't be there this Thursday, but yeah. Yeah,
My son has practice from 5 to 6:30, so I could just go there for an hour
okay.
on Thursdays.
actually, I might be there this Thursday. So that might work.
I'll text you.
All right, sounds good. So yeah, does anybody have a contact at the Army Corps of Engineers?
That was Jim Spots.
Spots, yeah.
Anybody comfortable reaching out to him to see if we,
I'll reach out to Jim, see what we could do.
yeah, okay.
That would be a wood structure. I was
It'd
thinking
be wood,
we could
yeah.
find, good, people are always selling old aluminum carports.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That, then we could honestly, if it's the same size as the fence, did you measure the fence?
The actual cage itself,
Yeah. Because if we could find something that
Didn't.
fits the fence, we could just mount it right to the
Yeah.
I
fence.
didn't measure that.
It's probably a 6-foot fence.
It's probably, the height of it, yeah, it's probably 6 feet tall, but the actual size of it, it was probably somewhere around 25 feet from the building.
Probably, what, 10 feet wide?
I think it's wider than that because there's the duct that comes off the side of the unit as well. So that's 10 feet wide from the edge of the duct to the opposite side. So that's 10 feet wide. So it's probably close to 16 to maybe 20 feet.
Oh, wow, okay.
I mean, I can measure it up again next time it's on there.
Because really what we're looking for is to cover it, but not close it with anything.
Right.
Just shield it
Right,
from
I mean, I'm envisioning like not a gazebo, but a pavilion over it.
Yeah,
A wooden
yeah,
pavilion type thing. You know, whatever we're gonna do, it should last, you know, hopefully a couple of years anyway. But who knows, after the CIP meeting last night, we might,
I thought they were ready to write you a check.
yeah, right. See my presentation? That was professional.
Yes, look good.
All right, before I think that's it on at least for now. If we can get that cleaned up, that's a start. And figure something else out. But, one more item under old business, are the fees and the fee structure for outside teams. So I asked Kim Planner to reach out to legal about, one about charging when fields are reserved but not used. Legal doesn't have a problem with that. They also took a look at the application and said that there's no verbiage in the facility request about fees, nothing about it being charged regardless. So we might want to add that to the facility request, just so we're covered. She did also mention that it might be a good idea going forward, if we are going to charge for days that are requested, that we collect the fees up front, which would certainly make management of it a lot easier.
Yeah.
That would.
And then if there's any reimbursement that needs to happen due to weather-related reasons or, you know, some reason that the field can't be used and we want to refund that day, we can always do it after the fact. I'm not sure how to edit that document, but if somebody's comfortable doing that, we should probably add that to the
Was
facility
Jeff
request.
looking at that? Did Jeff say?
Jeff
he
said
was
he's,
gonna- Yeah,
I think Jeff created it
Okay,
or put it online.
at the last
Alright.
meeting, I think Jeff was gonna look into that
Yeah,
piece.
I support the idea of collecting fees up in
I do too.
advance. And then
Right,
also,
yeah.
regardless if they decide to use it or not,
Yeah.
but if we decide like, you know, like Sawmill gets rained out, then, and we cancel, then
Right.
we should, some kickback, refund,
okay.
Get credit,
credit,
store credit.
store credit, yeah.
Discount off for next season.
That'll make it a lot easier because
Absolutely.
town hall wants the request. And then we don't have to do a little side note, oh, they weren't here this day, but they were, you know, just give it to them and keep it simple.
Or if there's a makeup day, just say sub it for that day.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
On that same topic, did you guys get my,
So I saw the email, yeah.
okay. When you sent that, did you send it to somebody at the town? The town sends out the invoice, or did you send out the
No, the
invoice?
town would send out the invoice.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
who do I send that to?
I think for softball, I sent it to both Kim and Karen.
Okay.
Yeah. I can go back through my emails and
Sounds right, Kim and Karen.
Yeah, I
Karen,
just summed up all the days that they
Yeah.
used, and
all right, any other questions about that? No, I'll email Jeff and see what he can do about adding that to the form. All right, new business. We have a donation that we need to accept from the LPA for $2,200 for the inspection, the engineering inspection plan for the floor at Talon Hall.
I'll make a motion to accept the $2,200 donation.
I'll second.
Any questions about that?
No, I just want to thank the Pickleball League for ponying up that money to investigate this at least.
Yeah.
That way we have a definitive answer, we have a report we can point to. It's not, well, we heard this 20 years ago,
Right,
you know,
Yeah.
so.
definitely.
No.
And as
oh,
you mentioned last night, it ties into the CIP and moving forward, we'll have an idea of how structurally sound that floor is, or if boards could be refinished, because we've been told for millions of years that they cannot.
So just to note, that's close to $10,000 Pickleball has donated this year with their $2,500 in benches, the $3,000 they gave rack plus this, and the money they put into the painting and shelving in the storage unit. So they've been very, very generous and supportive
Very
of our
appreciated.
projects. Yes, very appreciative.
Thank you. All right. All those in favor of accepting the donation for $2,200 for the inspection of the floor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, passes 500. Thank you, LPA. Portable bathrooms. Portable bathrooms?
Porta potties?
Porta potties, okay.
This rate kind of comes out of our
Comfort stations.
comfort stations. I can never remember what they're called.
I just want to go on the record and
Quiet.
tell you that you can totally just describe the issue next time. And
I don't have to send
no need to send
You don't even say that, just a summary.
photographic evidence of problems at porta potties.
But some of this comes out of the budget committee meeting we went to. Chris and I went to, I don't know when it was, last week?
A week or two ago,
It was
yeah.
only last week.
It was last week, God. Yeah, and then so, did anybody happen to see it, or they did recommend that we charge the leagues?
So, long story short, that with the way that the town is up against the tax cap and needing to shave some funds off of it to get below, they are recommending that we charge the leagues for the porta potties. And that would shave roughly 5% of our budget, which,
So my question to that would be, are we going to calculate how many porta potties are at each field and just divide it between LMS and soccer and baseball, or is it soccer, lacrosse, flag football are going to split the one at Sawmill, pickleball is going to,
I want no part of managing any of that.
yeah, that's
So,
what I'm saying. It seems like a
Right.
pain.
Yeah, so if we do go that route, then I would just basically divide it by
How many units by number of vogues?
how many leagues are using the field.
Yeah.
So, or how many leagues are using any facility, right?
Yeah.
See, the interesting thing is, years ago, and I'm not even talking about less than, probably like, just more than 5, maybe, the leagues all paid for their own porta potties.
Except for the one at
Except
Dara.
one at Dara.
Yep,
And that
because of
was,
the
and that all came back around to why the rec should be paying for more. So now we're going back the other
Softball
way.
never had to pay if
Correct.
everyone was always there.
But if
Or
if the
LMS.
one at Dar is covered by the town and then the leagues pool in and
Yeah.
I think that's fine. Yeah, I mean,
Does the one at Darren need to be covered by the town? Is there a reason that softball couldn't chip in for that, or soccer,
Yeah.
whoever else uses the fields there?
and then, but where do we draw the line too? Are we asking Plex and Bobcats and
Yes.
all these other?
If they use the
Yeah,
fields.
but they're paying a fee to
Oh,
use
that's
it.
They're paying the
That's
fee,
true.
so no, they would not.
Fee,
Then,
but also there's the,
Or could those fees be used to cover that?
other softball team that brings in 2 porta potties almost all.
They do, yeah,
all
the
summer
Fusion brings
pay
in their
that.
own porta potties
Fusion
when they have
brings in their
tournaments.
own too and leaves them there all for 2 months for everybody to
They
use.
leave them there most of the time, they're zip tied, but
Yeah.
but they bring them in for their own tournaments.
I guess that kind of leads to my another question. Like, what happens to all the money that does come in from these leagues? That it just goes into the revolving fund, or does this go into the general fund, or
Goes into
Should go
revolving, I believe.
Rec revolving, yeah.
so we have basically a cash allowance that's building up somewhere?
As of right now, it's only, for the facility fees, there's only been Plex, Fusion,
Yeah.
and Bobcat, so
But we will have a build up.
so eventually should
Yeah, it
Should
should,
grow pretty well.
And some of it is Spirit of Litchfield, they're pretty much self-funding now, so that whatever they make goes into that revolving fund, and they use their funds when they need a new sign or.
I mean, realistically, just, you have the fee, just add, we're gonna go back and edit the document and say there's a July fee for, using porta potty usage.
I think
Well,
it
we're
should
You're
be-
talking-
talking
season.
about for the non-Litchfield teams
Correct.
that are using
I
it?
think we should go a step farther and charge a quarter for put a quarter. that anybody uses it.
For the toilet paper?
No one carries a quarter anymore.
All right,
Yeah,
you know,
You have to scan.
QR code, pay the Venmo.
Is anybody opposed to having?
Leagues pay.
So
Okay.
No, again, as I said, it used to be that way. And then it came back, and now, it's.
So
It just
the
kinda-
big- the only issue I can foresee is like what happens on these emergency services, what happens if something, somebody tips it over and they have to come out and
Yeah.
set it up and clean it and,
That may
I
fall
don't think we
on
can,
us.
that may
We
fall
may
on
have
us.
to
I don't
leave
think
a
we can go
little bit
back
of
to the
money
leagues
in
for
there
that. So,
for that.
yeah.
I mean,
Here's-
I would
here's the
think
thing.
we need some also because we usually cover the porta potty, that goes to Parker Park for the fishing derby.
Yeah.
So we need to have some money in that fund that would like cover that and.
how much is that fund a year? is it?
7,000.
It's
I
7,000.
think it was 7,000,
Oh,
wasn't it?
Fund.
With, geez, we had.
Revolving fund you're
With,
talking about?
No, I'm talking the porta potty.
With
line.
Oh, yes. Yeah,
extra
I'm sorry,
cleanings
yes.
and tippings.
With 7,000, we are going to we're planning on going to the new old company.
Yeah.
Which will be a savings, I think it was around.
650
Oh,
or something.
Yeah, 65.
Well, here's the thing. Are you so, like Parker Park, do we have one at the, the river landing or no? No.
No,
I mean,
we bring
Park
one in
Park
for
only
the
goes
fishing
for
derby.
the,
for that,
Only for
just
the
so,
fishing
just for the
derby.
fish.
so, I mean, that's just
A one time.
part of the fish, yeah, I mean, again, do let's put it this way, if we're gonna charge sports back, right? But we're still gonna be the holder of the contract, we're still gonna maintain it, so if there are things happening, then you don't charge exactly the fee that covers the porta potties, you charge more to cover any extra expenses during the year.
Yeah, that's true.
What I want to do, and something I talked about years ago, and now that we have the tractor, is let's get the footprint of the new comfort stations coming in, and we could build a platform and use some wood and make a cement pad, and then figure out a way of chaining them down so that they don't get tipped. Because the tipping fees this year were astronomical. The cleaning, obviously, emergency cleaning will always, happen, but if we could prevent them from being tipped over.
So do we need to build a pad? Can we just chain them to
If
fences?
they were on a near a fence, yeah.
And most of them are. Well, maybe
Pickleball's
not
on the
pickleball.
parking lot.
Yeah, some of them.
Leave Steve alone, he just wants to use the tractor more.
Use a tractor and build, and play with cement.
I don't hate
And if
that.
you help, you put your name in it.
No, I think that's,
Handprinted?
Yes.
I think we have 2 handicap accessible and the rest are,
Where's the other one? I know one's at Darrow. Where's the other one?
pickleball, I believe is a
Is it?
handicap. Yep.
At the other location.
Weren't you inspecting him the other day?
Yeah.
Did you
we-
take notes?
Because it's an ADA compliant, facility or whatever you want to call it. the pick-
I love this new job that you've bestowed upon yourself, the
Well, here's the deal,
comfort
when we
station
know, like,
inspector.
Chief Comfort Station Inspector.
When we're paying for cleaning and they're not showing up to do it,
Yeah.
and we've got events coming up,
Yeah.
it's a lot of money. And like you said, you notice at Dara, there hasn't been hand sanitizer, there isn't at pickleball. And we're paying weekly for them to be emptied and cleaned, and then they're not.
Now, at the other locations, are they close enough to a building or a fence that we could attach them to it?
The only one that's pickleball is on the pavement, unless you wanted to do something closer to the fence and.
The other one is down by the fields is near the pavilion, right?
No, it's on the outside, but it's on,
the other
by the
side of
fence.
So-
It's next to the
It's by the
fence.
fence, so.
By the fence. So
Chain it
we
to
could
the
always move
dumpster.
it.
With
You can
the ones that we're using now, they said they had handles, so we could have chained them, well,
Yeah.
maybe not a chain, but a cable and a lock to tie them.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see with the new version.
I mean, the one at Jeff Lane is right next to the shed, so I could put 2 eye bolts on the shed and.
But
Yeah.
I do think if we have we have cameras at Dara, so the one there was caught, and I don't know,
They didn't catch them.
to our knowledge, charges weren't pressed or whatever, but, I mean, I think if we have proof of who did it, we should be able to recoup that money. The town
Yeah.
shouldn't be
Yeah.
paying for that,
Absolutely.
and even if it's
Preventing-
kids being
preventing
kids,
it from
it's
happening.
$150
Yeah.
to have that someone come over and.
It's
and do
it's
that.
just
So-
have them manually clean it up. You don't have to do a fine, just have them manually clean it up. I
Yeah.
mean, that,
That goes a long way.
yes, it will.
You're not talking about $10.
These are expensive.
So, that's probably something we should vote on. Do we want to make a motion to pass the porta potty fees on to the leagues?
I'll second that, and we
We
can
don't have
figure
a
out
first
the
yet.
amount after.
We don't have a first yet.
Oh, I'll first it. I thought you were making the
No,
motion,
no,
sorry.
no, I'm asking for a motion.
Oh, I'll make a motion to, pass the comfort station fees onto the various leagues and associations that, use them in town, with the amount to be determined at a later date.
I will second it just because there could be a bit of a conflict with the representations from the different orgs.
Oh, right.
All right, any other conversation about that? I'm looking for the
How much is the tax cap over?
three,
We're up there.
300,
Yeah,
300?
yeah. And a lot of it is,
Salaries and
yeah, the
health
police.
insurance.
Yeah, and the police chief coming back with, they're almost fully staffed, they need vehicles. Everything that was voted in last year, warrant, hits the tax cap this year. So it's very, very, very difficult to stay under the tax cap, even at 7%.
So, okay.
I can
So
tell- I can
what
tell
would we
you the-
carry, 3 grand for, instead of 7?
I can tell you the cost of the porta potties is not going to get us there.
No, that's,
No.
it's just such a drop in the bucket, and
It is.
it just seems like such a,
But it's, again, it's an easy one for us to recoup, right?
It is.
Like, it's not,
Yeah.
like, it's not, like, it's, again, it's, you know, something, as I said, the leagues used to do it before. It became a luxury of not doing it. Now it's just back to doing it, and that's just the way it is. And-
but, so would we just pull all the porta potties and the leagues just get their own?
No, no,
No.
we will have
The
the
town will
company
still
come
pay
out
the
and
bill.
put them there.
Yeah.
and then- yeah.
The town still gets a better rate, which is part of the reason why the town, it went to this structure. Besides the fact that, you know, one field was being covered by the town, and other fields were being covered by each individual league. It was also that under one contract, the cost would be less, because it's, you know, those numbers. And it's fine, like, again, so you figure out the way it is, and it's like, you know, again, it's by season, right? I mean, we're gonna have to come up with a structure after, so it's like, you figure it out by season, so like, you wouldn't charge lacrosse the same as you would charge for soccer. Like, you know, soccer's using it 2 seasons, lacrosse is using it 1 season. I don't know, with softball, baseball, I mean, softball's down there, I mean, is it 2 seasons, 1 season, I don't know, but you'd come up with what the structure is by season, you wouldn't come up with it by year.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we'll do our due diligence to try to secure them so they prevent the tips.
And then I think, you know, for Tabernacle Christian, we find some type of, you know, do, in LMS also, which we have had to bring our own porta potties in at Campbell High School when we held events there. Didn't allow us
Yeah,
to
I
use
mean,
their
you
own.
have to break it up between every league.
Yeah.
that uses
Every
it.
week.
So that might have to be something we add to the facility request form as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it's gonna include everybody, right? Boy Scouts, healthy kids.
In our contract, whether we change company or not, starts in January, so we should just try to figure something out and put it on there, so it is on there, and
I agree. All right, I have a motion, I have a second. Any other conversation? All those in favor?
Aye.
Oh, I'm gonna abstain. Opposed?
I'm
Abstained.
opposed.
Abstained, okay. So motion passes 3-1-1. Okay.
You can clean them. You can clean them.
Next, we have the Budget Committee meeting.
Well, it kind of went along with the portables. But I kind of have a question. I'm going to direct it at you, Steve, because you're Board of Selectmen. So let's say there was this building, somebody came and spray painted graffiti on it. So obviously, they're not going to just leave it there they're going to get rid of it as soon as possible. I'm wondering, how is that covered? Because the planning board budget committee was kind of leaning towards, like, we've had graffiti on the outside of Talent for a while, and to get rid of it and to paint it, have a big fundraiser. And I'm thinking, is really anybody going to tell people who work at Town Hall, have a big fundraiser to get rid of your graffiti and paint it? It's a town-owned building. We don't own it. We just manage it. So I'm like, what would happen in a situation if it happened to this building? Or on the police department side, or here, somebody came and spray painted graffiti like has happened on Talent Hall.
First thing they'd do is ask Kevin Brown to come out and clean it up with the paint remover that he has.
Okay.
And if not, you'd have to hire a professional, and it would come out of someone's budget.
They'd find it somewhere.
Yep, for rec, it would come out of the building maintenance. That's part of building maintenance.
Could we cover it under insurance?
Maybe, I don't know. Depends how much damage, I guess.
It'd have to be more than the deductible, right?
Yeah.
But I have to think somehow the town would find money to take care of it on one of their buildings, but.
Yeah, you'd have to, it would come out of a budget somewhere, someone's budget. They must, I'm pretty sure there's a building maintenance budget for this building. But the first thing we do is try to ask the road agent and his crew if they have the time and materials. And he helps out down there whenever possible, it just depends, But as you mentioned in the meeting the other day, that building's at the point now, it needs to be painted.
It does. It needs a whole new paint job.
That's what it needs.
That's fresh coat of paint, Mike, come on. It's like putting lipstick on a pig. But there's also.
The portable thing in the budget committee meeting kind of went
Okay.
together, but I didn't know if you wanted to have the vote. Kim said she sent you the new quotes, so it would be okay to vote to officially change porta potty
Did she?
comfort station.
Let's see.
Yeah. Because I had said at the meeting it was gonna be on our agenda, and she said, no, hold off, because she was budgeting, she was trying to get the emergency fees knocked down to cheaper. And I had
She's still
checked with-
negotiating the contract.
Yeah, I had checked with her to make sure I understood her clearly, saying we should not vote on it. She said, no, I sent the new information to Chris. That same night as whenever the budget committee was. So we knew,
Okay, I have it here.
but it was, so that the emergency cleaning and tipping fees were less
Let's
than
not go
what they had.
too deep into the
Hopefully they
dollar
don't have
amounts,
any-
but yeah, they were, she did her work.
Oh, I hate spending so much time on porta potties.
We noticed. I mean,
I had to go pick up that shirt covered in crap.
you didn't have to do anything.
Yeah, but we had the Fall Fest there. What if some kid, that's like biohazard. We couldn't have somebody go grab that and.
Run around with it, put it on.
Should've called Steve, he would've brought the tractor down there.
And we picked
it right up.
Buried it.
dumped it in the pond.
I want to review this.
You wanna wait till the next
Review
meeting and I
this,
can put it
yeah.
on the agenda?
Yeah,
For
that's
them?
the first time
Okay.
I've seen it, so.
And then there was also, last year, there was $25,000 put into the, what do you call that fund?
Reserve?
Not
The one we did the warrant article for?
Yeah, that money was put in.
Yes.
I think Chris was under the, Peter was under the interpretation that it would build up over time. But that was moved from the unassigned fund balances right in.
Right in.
So if he was saying we need some money to fix something, I don't remember what it is, but I think he was under the
pump.
interpretation that it had to build up funds. But no, there's money in there already.
The pump replacement.
Was it the pump?
Yeah, because then somebody said, take it out of there, and if you wanted, let's say it costs $5,000, you'd do a warrant article for 5 to put it back into that.
Yeah.
What's the fund called?
Unassigned fund, it came from the unassigned fund, but it's the trust fund, or, I don't remember what the exact
Okay,
name is.
but what you could do is a warrant article to replace what was used, so it's
Yeah.
always staying at that 25,000 is one of the things.
I think Kim last night was saying we could do a warrant article to add more to it, too.
Yes,
We wanted
Yes.
to.
to fix the tennis courts, right?
Okay, so I'll put the porta potty company on the next.
Let's table
agenda.
that till next
Yeah.
meeting. All right, next we have the tour of lights.
So that hasn't come out yet, but we've participated the last 2 years, and I'd like to organize that again with the Southern New Hampshire Parks and Recreation, blah, blah, blah. Where I think it's based out of Merrimack, the guy there puts it together, and then I will do a map separate also for Litchfield, like we did the last 2 years.
Okay.
Hasn't come out, but I figured if I could get approval of you guys tonight, then when it does come out, I can start working on the application form.
There's no fee for that, right?
No fee.
We have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Is this something we have to vote on?
Do we rec want to sponsor that again, and I'll
Yeah,
take it on,
yeah,
I'll
yeah.
do it?
Sure.
Okay.
Next, we have the pump replacement at Sawmill. Andy.
Yeah, I guess all I wanted to say is, is this something we want to do now? Or,
It's being right, Natticook's recommending it, correct?
yes?
Yeah. I mean, if we can, probably, we should probably do it now before it becomes an emergency, and then when it's an emergency, it then costs more money, right? Like.
Yep.
I do have a question before that, though. Where was the service call to? We got that invoice, right?
I don't know. That was, is that what that was for?
I have no idea what it was for.
Yeah.
It just says
Didn't say the
Jolt,
location.
it says
Jolt,
well
yeah.
pump not working. But I assume that it wasn't, because it came from Kim, right? She's like, is this Rex?
Yeah.
Ryan
Like
would
it
have
was a
told me.
question. That's what I'm saying. Ryan would have done it, or Ryan would have managed it
Yeah.
if it was for one of the fields.
And he would have informed us.
So I have no, but I was reading this thing and I read it and I'm like, there's no description of location. It just says well pump.
So the town got invoiced from Joel for an emergency repair on a well pump, but it does not say.
Doesn't say where.
what well
Right.
pump
No,
it
and
is.
she was looking, but I was like, I don't know what we said because she just asked, does anyone know what this is for? Or you mean, so it's like, I'm like,
No, I mean, if, I was gonna ask that question tonight, if
Yeah.
anybody here knew of that. I know I emailed about it last night, but I mean, I can give Joltman a call to see if he can
Yeah, get some
explain it,
details.
because, yeah. I mean,
Or even ask Heather to reach out to him and
Yeah.
ask, what is this invoice for? Where was it? What location?
Yeah, there
Because
should be,
he sent it to Heather as an invoice, and Heather sent it to Kim, and Kim sent it to us,
Yeah.
but no one here knows what well
yeah,
that. And like you said, if it was the one at Sawmill, he would have said something.
if it was any of the fields, I'm sure Ryan would have said something to us.
He would have said something to me.
Yeah, first.
yeah.
So how much is the pump replacement?
I just want to make sure we want to go through with it.
Oh, okay.
He's not sure. You'd have to, get the numbers for it, but.
What is it?
When was that,
Bang?
when was that pump installed? Was that installed when he did the well?
I think it's the original pump.
It's the original pump? Okay.
I don't remember it.
When was that field put in, do you know?
Oh, God.
10, 11 years ago, 12 years ago now?
Okay.
Trying to think.
Field was put in that?
It was fourth, second, yeah.
2012?
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm thinking Roy. Yeah,
Yeah,
2012.
probably 12 years ago.
Wow, that's a good run. Is he gonna replace it same in kind, or is he gonna do like a variable?
I assume he's gonna do the same thing.
Yeah,
I mean, I'll reach out and have him get pricing on it.
yeah,
But we have
That's what we
that
need to
emergency
start.
fund to do stuff like this. So.
that's when we need to start. We just can't give them an open check.
Agree.
I mean, I have all the confidence in the world that he'll do right by us and that
Oh, yeah.
he'll do a good job with it, but yeah, we gotta know how much it's gonna cost before we can approve it.
Yep.
So the next topic is lights at Roy Memorial Park. So I had that added. I had a conversation with Chris Asara. He was reaching out about the possibility of installing lights at Roy Memorial Park for play after the sun goes down. You know, I think I remember looking into that years ago. I don't remember what the cost was or if we even got that far. Knowing that obviously the rec doesn't have the budget for that, it might be something that we could eventually look to as a warrant article. One of the suggestions he had is see if we can get all the fields and teams that use that field together and see if they can pull up some funds to do it, but I think that's gonna be a tall order, especially right now, with everything else, but you know, it might be something to put on the docket for a year or two down the road. I don't really know where to start with it from now, but
I think too, if we
Something
put
we-
up lights there, we're gonna have other groups request to have, oh, can we have a night soccer game there? Or can, you know,
Oh, there's always
That
gonna
field
be,
use would go up
There's gonna be-
exponentially.
it would.
Right.
It sure
Correct.
would, and I know that the school is refusing to do lights because of the neighbors complaining about the.
Right.
You know, the-
well, I'm sure that if, you know, once you put out that idea, there will be
Yeah,
There'll be
discussion
Yeah.
from neighborhood, which I don't blame them.
I mean, is it worth looking into it and maybe even
it's
just
also a
getting pricing
huge
now just to
cost
see what that would
electricity
be?
wise, like the
That's-
first time
that's
you
the other
turn
thing,
them on. I
right.
remember when I worked at PMA and they put in turf field and they put in the lights. And I want to say, this is 5 years ago, 6 years ago, I think the first time the lights go on, it's $800. And then, but they had all these big soccer tournaments there.
No,
it
I
was
mean,
BG's lacrosse field, so
again,
they were bringing in money to help
There's,
support that. but
there,
it's
there are
crazy.
multiple things you have to think of when you're putting lights. At least, like, you know, the minimal is discussion with the neighbors, like, that's like the first step. That initial cost is one thing. The continual cost of lights every year, where is that coming from? Then you have to talk about, okay, so now you're using the field a lot more, using it probably in conditions where, as it gets colder earlier, you're talking about the field kind of getting freezing over. What does it do to the grass? How quickly do you get to turn over the turf at that point too? So there's all sorts of different, like, cascading costs after that initial
After they're
cost.
in, yeah. If it was just a matter of lights, I think a lot more towns, a lot more places
Flick it
would
on
have
and
them,
done, yeah, it'd
But it is,
be all set, you know
they're
what I mean?
also very expensive to run.
Yep.
But if there were lights at Sawmill, would you see them from your house? Probably, right? It'll illuminate your
My house?
backyard.
Yeah, from my house, probably, oh yeah. I mean, it's, again, like, at Sawmill, you could probably turn them. There's always the thing, if you turn them along the chain link side away,
Yeah,
you really have like some buffer,
Yeah.
but that's only like one side. But again, that's the same thing. It's like you'd have to, you know, first I mean, running power down there, like it's in the shed and that's it. But again, it's the same thing. It's what are you doing to the field? How constantly are you gonna keep turning it over? And then you've gotta come up with, okay, well, if you put in lights, well, you know something? Everyone who uses the field when the lights are on is paying something extra.
Yep.
It's no more like town, school, you get to use it for free, everyone's paying a fee.
Everybody has to pay for it.
and it's not gonna be the same kind of fee as a porta potty.
I think it's like $300 an hour at certain, because when I was looking into it, I remember
that's
seeing
right, for the
fields
fees,
with
yeah.
there was like
Yeah.
$300 an hour.
Just for
I mean-
electricity?
Yeah.
Well, for the fields with lights.
Okay, the fee to use them.
$300 an hour? Wow.
Okay. All right, well, I mean, we start the conversation and see where that goes.
Didn't Kevin Brown say reach out or something?
Yeah, I read that. He said, reach out to me or.
I have some information on her or something,
Yeah.
so.
I
didn't
did read
see
that.
He told that, he posted that back to Chris.
Oh, on the Facebook thing?
Yeah.
Was that where it was? I knew I saw
Yeah.
it somewhere.
Yeah.
I haven't heard anything on it since then, so not sure where that went. So next we have the purchase and reimbursement, $29.76 to Judy Brennan for hand soap at Town Hall.
So Chris had pre-approved that because it was in the price range so that because we had no soap for the event and there was no soap in their period, so.
I think we should do a fundraiser.
Charge back.
Stand out on the corner with the boot.
Who can throw the crap covered shirt the farthest?
All right, I make a motion to approve the reimbursement of $29.76 to Judy Brennan for much-needed hand soap at Town Hall.
second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained,
I'll abstain.
passes 401.
So under new, can I also ask, if I can buy a new 4-pack of outdoor locks? Because I had one extra, I think I gave it to you, Andy, for the
The dumpster.
dumpster, and we're gonna need one,
Oh, I put it on the dumpster.
yeah, we're gonna need one for where the heating
Heating
system
unit
is.
fence.
And then to see what was inside that shed, we had to break that lock, so,
I wouldn't worry about that shed, softball's using it, for storage, so
all right.
softball.
So,
softball
I
can put it
can
away.
buy a 2-pack of outdoor locks, but it's good for us to have on hand when,
Yeah,
When we
I
do it.
approve the purchase of, four outdoor locks. I make a motion to approve the.
I'll second.
Not to exceed
uh,
20
Well, they
bucks.
go 100 bucks.
the outdoor ones say like 35
50
for
bucks.
4 of them.
Not to exceed
50
50 bucks.
The outdoor ones are a little more expensive.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained,
I'll abstain.
All right.
Because I was asking.
passes 401. All right, so next we have the emails coming up, November, Mike, December, Steve Weber. Then our next meeting dates are October 28th, followed by November.
Those are completely wrong.
Are they wrong?
Are they
Oh
wrong?
my goodness, that's 2025.
They're,
Oh, my God. October 28th, oh, it's a Monday. Jeez, I did that again.
So is the
Okay.
11th. The 11th is what made me look, because I'm like, I'm flying back in on the 11th. I'm like, that can't be a Tuesday.
Oh, I did Monday. Sorry, guys.
yeah.
Sorry,
So
Matt.
it's the 29th?
No, it's the
No, it's the
22nd.
22nd.
Okay.
22nd and then October, and then November 12th.
22nd and 12th. I don't know what I did there.
It's
See, I shouldn't be
2025.
secretary. I must have been, yeah.
I will be missing the 12th.
Please, send an email to
This
the,
is your notification.
to the notification department.
I'm on public record.
Denied.
And then upcoming events, Litchfield Tour of Lights.
I just assumed you would approve that, so I put it on
Yep.
there.
So November 1st, I'm sorry, December 1st to December 31st, Christmas in Litchfield, December 7th. Don't see anything else. Anybody have anything else they'd like to add?
That second bridge should be done soon at Park
That came
Park.
out,
It
yeah,
looks
the first
really
one came out
good.
good.
Yeah, they were
Yeah,
working on it
really-
today.
It's really,
Doing a good job with
looks
that.
really nice.
Yeah. These guys are killing it. All right, you got a motion to adjourn.
I'll
So
make a
moved.
motion to
Oh,
adjourn.
let Judy have it.
Second?
Second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Passes 500. Thank you very much. Have a great night.